Hi guys, and welcome to another video on our YouTube channel. This time I'm going to talk about Amazon DSP and what is Performance Plus tactic. It's something that's been around for I think last 6 months or so, but I've never had any chance to actually test it and see how it works. So in this video I'll try to explain what I've seen and some of the differences compared to the usual line items that you can see in Amazon DSP. So by the end of the video we'll have comprehensive understanding on what is Performance Plus and how it can help you with your sales. So in a nutshell, everything is the same. So you have your creatives, inventory, report line items, and history. There are, by the way, some slight differences that you will see. So in this one, I've selected that most of the things stay as they are suggested when you actually create Performance Plus line items, simply because I wanted to see what is it that Amazon is pushing and what is it that they want to test. So I've selected Amazon owned and operated inventory and left the Amazon Publisher Direct as an inventory and also all the third-party exchanges. By default, all mobile operating systems are in place, and this is where it's the most interesting. So for audience, you have this Performance Plus customer acquisition, because when I selected to actually create Performance Plus line item, because this brand is eligible for that, I was presented to select 3 tactics. One was customer acquisition, as in this case. The second one was remarketing, and the third one was retention. For each of the tactics, there is some kind of requirements, except for customer acquisition. There is no minimum size of audience or whatever. But for remarketing and retention, there is. For remarketing, you need to have at least 2,000 users active within your listings that you're advertising in the last 14 days. And for retention, 2,000 users in 13 months. So those are some of the things that your brand and your ASIN needs to fulfill in order to be able and eligible to use Performance Plus. If you're using Performance Plus for off Amazon targeting and you have your conversion tracking enabled on your website, the requirements are a little bit different. So I think it's down to 200 for each. So 200 for remarketing and 200 for retention in the last 14 days and last 13 months. Yeah, so let's go ahead and check the audience one. So I'm going to hit change, and right away you will see that the audience tab is completely different from what you can see on the regular line items. So I've selected all the audiences, and you can see that there's not many of them, and some of them are pretty interesting, and I see that they're focused a lot of devices for some strange reason, and alternatively there are some demographics. So take a look at this, for example. Of course you have to target or exclude devices like iPad mini or some Google Nexus devices. You can add demographics. This is interesting. So households with children 7, 8, and 9 years old. So that's interesting. It's interesting to note that some of these actually cannot be additionally included once you've added Performance Plus customer acquisition as a default audience. When you hover over it, you'll say additional audiences can be included on Performance Plus line items, but you can exclude them for whatever reason if some of these limited options are suitable for your targeting, like, hey, I don't want to target households with kids this age, or I don't know, some of the, if you know from the past reports that some of the devices are not performing well for your ads, so you can exclude older people, or I don't know if that's old, but 56 to 65, not that old, but still, if you want to exclude them, and some of the others. So that's the biggest change. So now it's almost like a black box. So you let Amazon decide on the customer acquisition and everything else. Additional thing that I've changed, which is by default completely different, is viewability, because I don't want any line items run on viewability less than 70%. Simply because viewability, for those who haven't seen my previous videos, Viewability is that for which part of your ad is seen during 1 second. So for example, it can be, let me show you, it can be up to 40% of ads. So it can be, you know, in lower right or left corner, less than 40% of your ad can be shown, and that's gonna count as an impression. So 1,000 of these, and you get charged, you know, because in DSP you get charged by impressions, which is ridiculous. Not the charging, but seeing the ad up to 40%. And then you have 40% and greater, 50 and 60. I always select 70% and greater. That gives you most viewability, but the lowest reach. But you know, at the end of the day, is it really reach if somebody saw less than 40% of your ad? So that doesn't mean that even they saw it, just it was served, you know, and Amazon grabs the money from it. So I selected 70% or greater. That creates an issue that you can see that delivery rate is going to be sorry, it's going to be lower than what you want to have, like, because again, sorry, I don't know what's the noise. Okay, my voice is back. So that higher viewability setting affects the delivery rate, you know, because Amazon is showing this in red. Yeah, I can push the delivery rate to the maximum if I select the lowest setting, like less than 40% of ad, and then my delivery rate is going to be fantastic, you know, by the numbers, but I don't want to do that. So next up, let's just scroll down. I don't think there's anything else that we want to set differently. Frequency, I like to have for this account not more than 5, and you have that frequency report that I've showed you how to pull from Amazon Marketing Cloud in my previous videos, and to decide what's the ideal frequency cap for this one. Then that's basically it for line item. For Performance Plus for the customer acquisition. When I try to test the retention one and the marketing one, I'm going to record again what are the options and what we can see. By the way, it's interesting to see the inventory report. Let me navigate to that and we'll continue. As you know, DSP sometimes takes a while to load. Here in inventory, you can see all the supply sources and costs and performances whatsoever in the last, what is it, July. Okay. What's very interesting to me is that when you sort by cost, you get that most of the cost came on Alexa devices, and actually also most of the sales actually came from Alexa. That's something that I haven't seen in the past on the other line items, the regular one that we use, but on this one, Alexa devices is hot. So that's very interesting thing that I saw over here. Okay, I just remembered that I didn't mention that about targeting and acquiring new customers. There's this fancy little option inside audience area that you can exclude past purchasers. And this is very useful because, as you've seen in audience, you don't have an option to use custom audience that you previously created with your previous buyers and then exclude those in your audience targeting. But here you can check this box and it will exclude past purchases, but limitation is that that's only for the last 90 days for the customers acquisition tactics. And yeah, let me know if you like this or not. Subscribe if you haven't, because I'll regularly post about new things on DSP on Amazon PPC. And let me know if you have any questions about Performance Plus, and I will let you know once the campaign is finished and what are the final thoughts about these fancy new tactics. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.